Everybody, we're back with another video of encaustic painting. This one takes place in a place in Ontario called Burleigh Falls on a kind of sunny afternoon. So I'm going to try out some new RF sticks, pigment sticks. So you can get a look at that kit here. They're wax, linseed oil, and oil paint. Or pigment, I guess, more accurately. These are the ones I've been currently using. Shiva, I believe it is, and I really like them. So far, though, they're a little harder, and they definitely get a thick skin on them, where the wax is cured, I guess. So you kind of have to peel it all the time. It's not a big deal, but I just thought I'd try these newer ones, plus their colors that I don't have. And with oil sticks, although they mix on the board, and you can create new colors, it's because you're not mixing on a palette. It's nice to have the different, a lot of different colors available to you. Just showing some of the tools that I was planning on using that I didn't, which are catalyst, kind of squeegee type palette knife brush tools. They can be pretty good with the wax because they're made of silicone, so they don't burn or anything like that. You can leave them on that. I mean, I'm sure you could if you really try, but you can leave them on the heat plate for a while. So here I am, just laying down some clear wax over a wood panel, and I'm fused it into the wood panel to really melt it in and make sure it adheres good. And then I'm going through and scraping it with a scraper. I'm laying in my base sketch there, just to get the kind of the layout down, and some base colors, planning out where the clouds are going to be in negative space. And I'm doing another coat here of clear wax and fusing it. So one thing that you might notice is that when I put a coat of clear wax over the paint, it tends to pull it or smear it almost because it hasn't cured yet. I would just recommend, just as lightly as you can, just kind of put no pressure on the canvas itself, and just kind of let it glide over the top, and just drag it over the top without putting any downward pressure, and that'll kind of at least ease some of that streaking. But I just kind of accept it and roll with it. So here I am, just putting in some kind of some complementary type colors, or some kind of just colors for interest, basically, and as well as the white for the clouds and some rocks. Yeah, I usually put an underpainting color down before I start. In this case, I'm just going on the raw board, so I felt like it was missing kind of some of the complementary, or the kind of what you wouldn't automatically think a landscape should have. Some of those colors, to me, that makes it a lot more interesting. Some of those kind of impressionist colors and stuff like that. So going through and doing that, putting another coat of wax excuse me, another coat of wax, and scraping it down again. And when I'm scraping it down, I'm scraping in all directions, so I do one pass, from top to bottom, side to side, bottom to top, and the other, opposite side to side. And it kind of creates almost like a canvas texture on the wax of small little streaks, which I just like to work on. And it also gives it this kind of sheen that you can kind of see coming through, probably more than you'd like to at the moment, but that kind of gives that the shine to the thing. And there you can see some of those lines. It helps to pick up some of the paint, I believe, as well. So you can see I just went through with some blues and some greens, and trying to establish some of the values under the darkness of the trees, and scraping again. Yeah, you really have to begin to like scraping to be able to paint this way, I feel like. And it's kind of as much of the painting process as the actual laying in the pigments, because it's essentially revealing older layers of pigment. So at first it can seem kind of tedious, but I think as you get to do it, it kind of becomes a bigger part of the actual painting. So here I'm laying in some more values again. I felt like the sky was missing something, so I added some red to the undertones, which I go back over with more colors coming up. So with this particular one, I started to scrape very small small kind of patches out of the painting. I was kind of interested in how many different tiny tiny squares or patches were coming through, and I wanted to explore that, so I began adding a lot more small chunks out of the painting to see what kind of effect I could get from that. So here I'm doing another coat, fusing it again. When I take it away here, I'm sometimes putting it in the fridge to cool the wax. I find that really helps when you go through and scrape it again. When the wax is really hard, it kind of stops it from possibly tearing out, which it can do sometimes if it's too soft or if you don't wait long enough between for it to cool. And I'm pretty impatient, so I like just carrying on. So I put it in the fridge for a minute, and that really helps that. So here you can tell I'm really kind of starting to get detailed with scraping out chunks of the painting. I've done this in different ways with large scrapes all the way from the top to the bottom, taking out big chunks right down to the bare canvas, but in this case I wanted to try something different. And so one thing I started to feel like at this point was that it was very all over the place in its color. It didn't feel very unified in any way. So the old masters and stuff, a lot of them would do glazing techniques or whatever, where you mix kind of translucent paint or a little bit of paint with a lot of oil, and kind of go over the entire piece or large sections of the piece with color tones to kind of unify it and give it depth. And so I thought I'd give that a shot here to unify some of the colors. So I grabbed some linseed oil there that you can see, and I put a small amount of paint, and I just kind of rubbed it in. That's one of the nice things too about the wax surface is it really lends itself well to the oil. It's really kind of a smooth, buttery feeling, and you can really kind of just touch and manipulate the surface in a good way that you can't really get that close to with a regular oil paint with it, unless you're going for some really strange effect. But this really allows you to kind of grind paint into the surface and wipe it away and carve it away, or there's a lot of kind of options. So here I am just coming through with the pigment sticks again. Same thing. I like that there's a lot of color ingrained in the wax, but it was some of the details getting too lost for me, too kind of muddy. The nice thing is you can put as much different color as you want in this medium without it getting too muddy, because it's trapped in its own layer. It's trapped in its own little section of fused wax, so it's not going to blend in the same way. But here it is. Here's the finished painting. I hope you guys liked it, and I really had fun doing it. And come back, for more. Thanks. Bye.